What's going on, guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to try and teach you briefly how to play Trap Cyber Dragons. Obviously Yassine made this build very popular. I have kind of my own twist on it because I don't have the utmost patience that sometimes the build does take. We'll see that, and I'll talk about those card choices as we see them as they come up. I've seen people say, well, like I said, I'll point out the cards when we get to them, but you can't play that in the trap build. The trap build doesn't play that. You don't use that in the trap build. And I mean, there was a point in time where we said Cyber Dragons don't use those traps. Like, anyone saying you can't use those cards in the trap build is going against everything Yassine tried to tell the community when he made the trap build, and that's going outside of the normal, outside of the box, and trying different things to see if it works. That was the entire idea behind the trap build, and it actually turned out super successful. And yeah, people just like clue in on that's how that build has to be played. And I mean, if we all stuck to that logic, the trap build would have never even become a thing. So we see we're against Drytron. Our opponent is 1100 ranking. We're at the time just below 700, trying to climb that DB ladder. I think we're at 702 now though currently, so we are going up a little bit. Orange Light, Medianus, Dawn of the Herald, so that means perfection. I prefer ultimateness, Zeta, and emergency, and we have punishment, called by the grave. Card doesn't conflict that much, guys. You just gotta play smart. Pot of prosperity, super poly, cards broken, guys. Play smart. Cards really good right now. You're gonna see it in a lot of my replays. Cyber Dragon Core, so I really like my hand. We're gonna go a little faster because we can't stop him. So emergency search alpha, tribute the Zeta to special summon, search Benton. Zeta tribute the Benton then to summon. He only plays one ritual spell, but he will get his diviner. Fafnir is gonna dump Gamma. Then using material from the Medianus, right away he's using the effect to add it back from grave. That's why we see the counter. But anyway, he ritual summons out the Benton there. Then Gamma's going to tribute Benton, summoning itself and that alpha back. Benton will then get him Eva to hand. That card is just broken. Eva is insane. Normal diviner, send Arclight, search perfection. Medianus will then he ritual summons out to the perfection, and then he's going to go ahead and link to into IP Masquerena, and I feel like he left a little bit out on the table there, but I guess that's how it goes sometimes. So IP, Fafnir, and Herald of Perfection. This is just awesome right now. If they leave Fafnir on field, even if that's ultimateness, like that just makes Super Poly live. Otherwise you can like attempt to summon any or like set your Cyber Dragon, and you can use your set cards for fusion, and you can go into like your Mud Dragon using your Machine Light and the Fairy Light. So Super Poly actually good in this matchup. It can hit if they're playing Dragoon. You can use the Verde and Dragoon as well. So Super Poly definitely good in the matchup, whether you go Mud Dragon or Starving Venom. So we're gonna open up our play, and if they were going Dragoon, how fun would that be? Super Poly, we get a Mud Dragon, we get a Starving Venom, and we just completely broke their board. Anyway, so we're gonna open up with Super Poly. Obviously in this case we're discarding the other Super Poly because I like the rest of my hand. Go ahead and make Mud Dragon. Normal Cyber Dragon Core. We're gonna get hit by the Orange Light, sending the Eva. We're gonna try and stop their plays outright though, so called by the grave on the Eva, because otherwise he'd get Diviner back and another Orange Light. So I don't want him to have that starter and a potential negate as well. So I didn't want to give him protection and a starter. So we're gonna go ahead and lose our core. Prosperity then, hitting 6. What do we hit with prosperity? That is what a lot of people ask. Well, I know I don't need Starving or Rocket Ride, so we get rid of them. I already have a Cyber Dragon in graveyard, so I don't need All Mirage. Once in a while that actually backfires, not too often. One of our 2 Intis, one of our 2 Mega Fleet, one of our 2 Rampage Dragons. Them are pretty typical for what I send. We see Cyberload, Overload, Punishment, Ice Dragon, Repair Plant, and our Solemn Strike. We're going to grab Ice Dragon's Prison, keeping in mind you cannot special summon any of the normal Drytrons, but now thanks to Fafnir it does give us that machine, if we don't have our own machine on board, that is. So otherwise you just hit the fairies and you can stop their plays that way. So I'm liking where I'm at. We're going to battle phase attack over, deal half damage. He draws into Gamma, which actually makes his cards kind of live. So we're going to go ahead and see him using the alpha, hit the Gamma, and then he's going to search out Editon. We just wanted to play smart here with our disruption. Gamma's gonna hit it, searching or special summoning Gamma and bringing the Fafnir. Then he's gonna go ahead and use the ritual spell, overlay into a second Fafnir, and at this point I'm pretty confident that we can do what we need to do. So on summon, not or I guess I in the chat didn't really clear that up. I'm trying to do it on summon, but anyway, he dumps the delta, but that's fine because I mean, hint hint guys, we still win. But punishment on, like I said, it's not an on summon effect, so make sure you make that very clear that you're interacting on summon. Anyway, punishment, send in Tis, popping the 2 Fafnirs, and he's stuck with his Dawn of the Herald and his Medianus both in hand. He really cannot do anything, and we go into Cyber Dragon Naxter. There's no point in doing anything with it. We're just going to go battle phase, poke for a little bit, and he draws into a Delta. So now we're going to see Gamma hitting the Delta, and then we're going to summon Gamma and also bringing out the Alpha. Medianus, not too worried. There's the Aditon effect, get that ritual spell back. Then we're going to use the Delta. He's just going for the free draw here. Now let's go a little bit further. Show and get it. Ooh, instant fusion. Then he's going to go into the Phoenix to attempt to force it. So without knowing what's in his hand at this point, without knowing what he can do, I actually go for the Benton because I just don't want him to like go insane and keep plussing if I can help it. I mean, he's just going to attack over it, but at least I kind of limit his plays right now because he has 1 unknown card in hand and the 1 Medianus. So I'm not like super worried, especially because now I know I can Mega Fleet him too, and we just happen to hit a hers, which is even better. Because then we make Mega Fleet, search out Cyber Dragon, discard it for Naxter, and revive it to go ahead and take game 1. We go ahead and side. We go second for game 2. And once again, Super Poly, Cyber Dragon, Inspector Border, card's pretty good. Punishment and Cyber Emergency. He has Alpha, Zeta, Diviner, Pre-Prep, and Orange Light, so another really strong hand. He's going first, Pre-Prep, get the Dawn and the Perfection. I do know that's why people do play that, but I think the deck's so consistent for Ultimateness anyway, and Ultimateness is just so much better. So we're just going to let him pop off at this point, gets the Eva. Then Gamma, get that, or sorry, Zeta, getting ahead of ourselves. Then we're going to dump our Delta because he had Gamma in hand already. Or no Gamma, he just wants to draw. He doesn't need the free bodies. So now he has Delta on field, and once again, he's just loading up his hand. Orange Light, Orange Light, Orange Light. Crazy Beatrice, and get the Eva. So now we're going to see Diviner coming to hand and the 3rd Orange Light. And he still has Prosperity too. So he actually doesn't use the Prosperity, but anyway, we're gonna see what we can do. He has 6 in hand, the Perfection, Beatrice, IP. So we special summoning out our Cyber Dragon. Keeping in mind you cannot Super Poly Beatrice and the Perfection. He got a little confused with the Ultimateness at first, so then he's gonna go IP and Beatrice into Unicorn. And at this point I really was not thinking like at all, like completely not thinking. I should have changed Super Poly to the Unicorn because you discard a card, target a card on the field. Obviously he would target my Cyber Dragon, but Super Poly discard a card, I could go ahead and make a Mud Dragon and it goes to the grave, and I, you know, don't lose out on everything. So that would have been the smarter play, but I completely did not even think of it at the time. And then we would go ahead and emergency, and again he would not have the Perfection there, so it would in fact go through. And we know he has the Orange Lights, so we would actually search out like anything and just make a Mega Fleet Mud Dragon, knowing he has the Diviner in hand. Or I guess we could you know, normal the Inspector Border, and you have the Mud Dragon, so you get 1 effect, set the punishment, you can pop the Unicorn and not really worry too much, and then we're not using monster effects, so we get around the Orange Light rather easily. But yeah, that definitely would have been the smarter play, and I did not see it at the time. I did afterwards, because I always watch my matches after. I was just kind of like, oh, how many times can I force negates and what can I do to tip this back in my favor? But then we set the super poly on the punishment, and he draws into preparation. So we see the diviner come out in Tis. He's going to go for our punishment, so we're going to chain. He's going to, of course, chain the perfection Eva, and then searching out his Herald because he's out of orange light, so he cannot get to all of them. Access code and game on our misplay because, well, we're going to go ahead and draw into another inspector border. So guys, yeah, I mean, misplays happen. Like, there's really nothing else to say about that. I had the cards I needed and I just didn't see the play line, which, I mean, as soon as I watched the replay, I was just like trying to like go through it and I was like, wait a second, why did I not super poly there? Like, it just made no sense at all. Zeta, Orange Light, Nova, Twister, and Diviner. So opening Orange Light every time. Emergency Soldier, Nibiru, Overflow, and Core. So I actually really like my hand. We're going to go for Cyber Dragon Hers here. Fast forward a bit. Hers and Soldier summon. On the hand effect, he uses it to negate the Galaxy Soldier. We're going to search Cyber Dragon. And then we're going to go ahead and set Overflow and pass turn. He draws the Ritual spell again. That's so unlucky. Discard Twin Twisters, and then he's going to hit Overflow, which will trigger it. Luckily, he has the Nova, and he has the name engraved, so he can actually combo off. Barely, but he can. Lucky for us, that means he has no extenders, and we have Nibiru in hand, so he goes for Gamma to bring back the other one. Then Zeta hits the Gamma. Or what the heck is he doing? Okay, so he did Zeta, but he opened the Ritual spell, so he couldn't search it anyway, and then he Gammas and brings back the Zeta. He needed to get the bodies on board, so there he goes with the Fafnir. And at that point, we use Nibiru because, well, we know he has one in hand, and we assume it's a Ritual spell because he did not search it off of the Zeta. Quick discussion, he thought it was 4. It was definitely 5, so Nibiru, and, well, you know, Ritual spell in hand, token on field. We have Cyber Dragon, Cyber Emergency, Core, and Crackdown just in case. So we go ahead and grab our Naxter because our Galaxy Soldier play is already dead, so there's no point going for that. Cyber Dragon Core, search out that Overflow just on the off chance that he forgot his Ritual spell. Not that we expect it, but on that off chance. So now we can go ahead and make our Verde, and that's going to be enough for a game because the token has 0 defense. Second replay. So again, the trap build, it's really just kind of taking your punches. Like, you don't necessarily, the deck can like put out damage really good. I didn't really talk about it, but I play Galaxy Soldier still. No machine dupe, and that really stemmed from Yassine making the trap build a big thing, and anyone who knows me knows I really pushed for no dupe builds for a long time because depending on the format, it is actually better. But and the no dupe builds still ran Dragoon, they still ran Galaxy Soldier, and they still were they function really well. And that's kind of the process, that because I was always more comfortable with that than a full-on trap build without any of those I guess more power plays, if you will, where you can brick more, clog more, top deck badly late game, but at the higher chance to speed the game up and to have a higher ceiling. I really liked the no dupe, not trap builds more, but then I went into kind of incorporating that here, where we still have a bunch of traps, but kind of the mix of the best of both worlds. So don't be afraid to play Galaxy Soldier in your trap builds. We see Poly Tactics, Place, Imperm, and, well, combo. We have Double Strike, Ice Dragon's Prison, Naxter, and Overload Fusion, so our hand's okay. His hand's pretty good. He's gonna, just do whatever he wants because he has full combo. He has, Place will get him the extra name, so he, like, even with Poly right away, he had everything he needed. He could have Place and then Search and then Poly and triggered both effects to play around Ash really well. And then we're gonna see the Place, grab the dropsies. He actually draws into Ghost Bell too. So he put it face up, so just so I don't know what cards are where. He meant to put the pranks face up, so He's gonna have the Battle Butler. He has Imperm, obviously the Pandemonium, and Ghost Spell. So he does actually have a really good hand. And he's gonna draw here, so he hits Poly again. So his follow-up's gonna be crazy too. We hit Prosperity, which is nice. Nothing we can do like at all right now. So we're just gonna go ahead Prosperity, see what we can do. Since we know we're playing against Prank Kids, we're gonna go ahead and once again just showing you guys one Mega Fleet. The only Fortress, I don't play the Kaiju, and he doesn't ever summon Machine, so I don't need that. Starving and Rampage. I think this is one of the games where I actually could have used Almirage when I banished it. So it was just kind of habit. Like so often I was able to put a Cyber Dragon Grave without it that I was starting to get pretty tunnel visioned in on that. Anyway, we hit our Super Poly, so that's what we were going for. That's why we hit 6, because if we hit Super Poly, we're in a really good position here. We set for being these 2 strikes, Ice Strike against Prison and Super Poly, and go to end. He's going to go ahead and use the Pandemonium still in the main phase, summon out the Battle Butler, trigger a whole bunch of effects. Nothing we can really do. We obviously don't want to say attempt to end main phase, because if he says okay, we can't set Super Poly. So I'd rather set it, and like what that could be, Twin Twisters, Prank Kids Plan. Like there's not much that could be that would really hurt where I'm at. And he draws Drone Lock for turn. That's fine. I'm already kind of at the point where Drone Lock isn't going to be too bad. I'll be surprised if I have to search more than twice. Puts everything into attack position. Super Poly, he was trying to go into the battle phase. I suppose we could have let him go into battle phase just to make sure that we like can't get hit for anything after. But anyway, we go Rocket Ride using the Earth and using the Battle Butler. He decided not to trigger, because Super Poly will still trigger Butler and Roxy's, and I was kind of like debating, like, okay, if he uses the effect, I got 2 strikes, I have Ice Dragon's Prison. If he tries to summon one off the Roxy's, or if he summons back from the Butler, like if he had Lampsies and Dropsies on field, so if he went for targeted either one, I could always hit it with Prison and summon it and then banish the 2 of them, especially Dropsies, because that would kill his Toad play, which I was kind of expecting him to go for, but he just ended up not doing that, especially because Pandemonium was last turn, and both being in grave, he's going to have to be able to play to get those back. He does have Poly, luckily. But anyway, after thinking about it a little bit, I end up not doing anything. But we do Solemn Strike the Doodle, because now it was never summoned, so the kids do not get their effects. Well, he's got 2 kids and Poly in hand, so he's going to hit them and then bring out his own Rocket Ride. And again, we have Prison and Solemn Strike both set. He's going to bring out the Roxy's, and then we're going to go ahead and use Ice Dragon's Prison, which he meets with a Ghost Spell, but we have another Solemn Strike, so we banish a Lampsies and the Rocket Ride, which kind of just, well, stops his turn and really hurt his grind game. We didn't have the greatest hand, so we weren't going to win our next turn, especially with that Imperm, but he didn't know that, so we were in a much better position. Anyway, we go siding, and now on to game 2. So, game 2, we see Dropsies, Fansies, Poly, Ghost Spell again, and Twin Twisters again. Ooh, hate that card. You know, hate that card. Trap builds. We go first. Cyber Emergency, Pot of Prosperity, Evenly Matched, Called by the Grave, and Ice Dragon's Prison. I did not expect him to make me go first, I'll be honest. I was getting a little irritated. He just like was constantly shuffling. So, Cyber Emergency. Searching out Cyber Dragon Core, but it made it all that better when we just 2-0 him then. Go ahead 6. We'll fast forward a bit. So we hit 6, we grab the Hers, putting back Nibiru. That's like the ultimate flex, right? When you hit 2 Nibirus on your Prosperity versus Prank Kids and you put them both back because you just don't care. So Cyber Dragon Core, we're going to go ahead. We have Almirage because, I mean, obviously he has the Twisters, but we're like, okay, Call by the Grave, Ice Dragon's Prison. You know, I got what I need. We use Galaxy Soldier. Summon out Soldier. Then obviously Soldier and Hers effects, and like I said, it's just getting really annoyed with this whole hand shuffling. discard summon Nova effect, and at this point he Ghost spells, man. I'm okay with it because we're not playing Dragoon anyway, so I don't necessarily need the monster, and I'd rather just Call by the Grave on his kid. So I saved the Call by the Grave, Ice Dragon's Prison. He opens Imperm, which that just made this whole thing fall apart because it's like Imperm and Twister. So Imperm comes out, he uses it obviously right away on the Infinity. We negate it so that way we still have a little more attack. Twin Twisters discarding the Poly, and then popping both. We could have chained the Ice Dragon's Prison, I guess, and taken his Ghost spell just for a free body, but it really wasn't going to do a whole lot. So anyway, then we see, and you'll see here in a second too, like, just wait for it. Meow Meow coming out, Prank Kids combo, yada yada yada. He has the one kid still in hand, so he can go, you know, and do whatever he wants. Rocket Ride, Pandemonium, and then he gets, okay, so now he's going to go ahead and doodle at this point, get the Pandemonium back. He has 2 Fansies, he's going to grab the place for another kid, and then Link Bow Wow, he grabs another Roxy's. There's the Bow Wow, and now he can go ahead and be able to have everything he needs. Discarding, or banishing, sorry, to draw, summon out the Lampsies. All he needs is the Dropsies. Again, remember I lost the attack, so Infinity only has 1800, and that's why he can beat over it. And then we're going to see the rest. We could have tributed Almirage, I guess, and forced him into that point, but he set the stuff in May phase 2, I believe it was, unless I know it literally just happened, but it's getting late and I didn't focus in on that. Cosmic Cyclone, not too worrisome. So Cyber Dragon Naxxor, he uses the effect of Bow Wow, and now we're just gonna play this out for fun. Summoning, and I needed to force the Butler, so I normal summon and go into Verde. Like, I'm 100% certain Verde will not resolve, but we have evenly matched in hand. So we're just going to let him like completely go off, and here it goes. So remember, we didn't use Naxxor either, and he actually keeps the Lampsies. I mean, okay, I guess, you know, not really sure why, but anyway, then we banish Core, summon out Naxxor, and revive the Infinity. At this point we were going to go for Nova, and then if you use the Butler again, you trigger Nova's effect and it would be gone. We'd have Rampage. That was the play I was going to go for, but since he kept the Lampsies, we actually go for Infinity, and whatever he draws we just negate. And yeah, so that is another replay. One final replay for you guys, and then we'll be done with this. So 3 replays, Prank Kids, Drytron, and Tri-Brigade. Kind of 3 good decks, Zoo-Brigade we should say. We see Thoroughblade, Revolt, Twisters, Chaos, and Impermanence. Imperial Order, Crackdown, Shifter. Oh yeah, guys, Shifter. I actually ended up taking it out because I hardly ever saw it. I like to wait till they commit a monster on board before I Shifter him, and he didn't do anything. So yeah, there's no point in wasting the Shifter and turning off my turn. A fun play with that I was like, in this instance, you could say if I Shifted him, he passes. I could, you know, Naxxor, discard Soldier, summon normal Core, search Cyberload, Link for Seeger, Cyberload the Naxxor and Core into Rampage and win. So that's kind of the play line with that, Cyberload and, you know, Link into Seeger. So linking Seeger and making your play that way. Keeping in mind, Naxxor can discard under Shifter. Soldier needs to discard to Graveyard, so it cannot. But again, I did take Shifter out because, well, it never actually helped. This instance it would have if he decided to play. He does drop the Imperm on the Core. With my hand though, I'm okay going for this, so we're going to try and either force stuff out, or we're going to go for Verde and just poke for a whole bunch of damage, and then set Imperial Order and Crackdown. Like, I'm pretty excited with that, especially because he didn't do anything, so I assume his hand wasn't the greatest, which, I mean, it's actually decent. He has Revolt already, he has Twin Twisters, which isn't going to matter, but he's got the Karas and the Fractal. He just needed one more Tri-Beast, so he Twin Twisters, discarding the Fractal, and then we Imperial Order it, and that's really going to put him in a bad position. Normal summon the Thoroughblade, we let him go into Borbo, and then we're going to say, yeah, no Zeus, we're going to crack down that, and that will be a quick game 1. Crackdown is actually pretty cracked right now, guys. Card is good. Quick shout out to Carlos on the shifter. I'd considered playing it, but he was talking about it in one of our little chats on Facebook, and he had some pretty good points, and I did like it. So Solemn Strike, that's going to be our way to kind of stop the play. Normal Rescue Cat effect. We have Nibiru, so I probably could have let the cat go through, but then like my thought process was I negate the cat and he either one passes turn or two he has the extenders to keep going, but then he won't have anything to play through Nibiru, and I'll really be able to just crush, end his turn, crush him, put it all down. So anyway, he does have the extenders to play through the Solemn Strike, which again, it's okay because we have the Nibiru, and then we're gonna go ahead at this point and drop the Nibiru with Revolt, Imperm, Droplet in hand. He actually isn't in the worst position. Opening Revolt is really good. Sheller effect, making it a little less attack. That's really all it does. Sets the Droplet, Revolt, and the Impermanence. Well, now we can go ahead and draw Solemn Strike, which again, that's really good in this matchup. Next, or discard Cyber Dragon, Special Summon effect. Just trying to force back row. Like, I'm not going to do a whole lot on my turn, so I'm just trying to bait out back row. Imperm comes out on the Naxter, and then we can go Cyber Repair Plant, Surge Core, and then say he didn't negate that, I'd just go for like bring it back, make a Seeger type play, and just like poke for game. Core is going to go ahead and attempt to search. He's going to Forbidden Droplet the token, but you cannot Forbidden Droplet a token, so it's actually going to go through because he definitely didn't want to send his Revolt. He could have, say, on summon of Core, chained Revolt, chained Forbidden Droplet, and then negated it that way, which would have been the smarter play, and then when it comes out he could banish, but at the same time then I make a Mega Fleet with the other one, which is exactly what he is thinking. I pretty much assume he has Revolt at this point because he didn't send it with Droplet. Like, that's the only card he wouldn't want to send with Droplet is the Revolt, because then he just loses. So obviously it's a Revolt, it's a Droplet. I'm just trying to force it. Like, I want to play the resource game. I have Overflow and Strike in hand, so even if he revolts me, it doesn't matter what he banishes, I'm okay with that. So go ahead and wait here. And then obviously he puts it in the extra monster zone. It has to be. If he banished the Nibiru, I'd just go main phase 2, make a Mega Fleet, let him get the card. Otherwise or I guess I wouldn't say just go main phase 2, I'd attack the token, then main phase 2 and clear it out. But he does go for the Seeger because he is smart, and he gets Kit to hand off the effect of Nerval. We're going to attack that token. I thought about crashing, but I was like, I have Overflow and Strike anyway, so we're going to just go ahead and set those, and then top deck into a Twin Twit. Oh, no, that's a Rescue Cat, which is good for us. Normal summon Kit. On summon, we're going to go ahead and pop absolutely everything. Knowing he's not going to be able to do a whole lot, he actually uses the Droplet just to cut my attack in half. He's losing everything anyway, you may as well. So he now has the Omen. So he's going to have Omen and Kit. I know I'm not going to be able to negate both, and he's going to protect whatever one he wanted more, which is the Omen. So Kit goes and dumps the Nerval. Omen adds actually DD Crow to hand. Like, obviously if I would have played it different, he would, if you didn't get the or if I negated the Kit, the Omen would have added a different card to hand. I think it would have actually had to be Nerval, so I don't think he can get Karis because it's a wing beast, correct? Omen, you can send to the grave. Oh, I had one beast. Okay, so no, he would have just grabbed the Karis off the Omen then. So yeah, it didn't really matter. I assumed he was going to go for that though, like add Karis effect. And I'm all okay with that. Like, okay, so let's see that Karis come out. And when he sent the Rescue Cat, I was super happy because then I knew DD Crow was in his hand. So now I know everything about where his game state's at. He summons out the Karis, and he's going to go and use the effect just to banish the 2, and we're going to meet it with a Solemn Strike because he has DD Crow in hand. We're not worried at all. Ice Dragon's Prison, perfect. His grave is loaded, and well, we can do whatever we want with that. We're going to poke for 3,000. Main phase 2. Use that Forbidden Droplet. He uses Tanky, searches out the Rat Pier, normal summon, then he's going to XZ summon, or dump the Thoroughblade first, and then he went right into Borbo too, before I could even say anything about res, which I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to banish the Borbo then. Going back to the main phase, Ice Dragon's Prison, hitting the Fractile and the Borbo, and then we draw Imperial Order. At this point, Imperial Order is not the greatest card though. It's really hit or miss. Like, if he hits any monsters or the traps, like he's in a good position. If he, well, hits a spell, it's Imperial Order. He hits Ash Blossom, so DD Crow he sets, and he has Ash in hand. We draw Core, and that's all that's going to matter. So we can normal summon Core. He's going to meet it with Ash, and then just end the turn. Well, because I mean, we had Poke with Nibiru, attack with Core. We have the one set, and he's just top decking against us at that point. So there we go, guys. That is Cyber Dragon Traps. I can show the deck list here in a little while. I mean, we can do some more replays too. But anyway, like I said, it's kind of just taking what the opponent gives you, and like say you have her Soldier in hand, and like Solemn Strike, Ice Dragon's Prison, say Crackdown. Even going first, I'd set my 3 traps and pass turn, because otherwise you're just like asking to get just hand trapped, and I'd use the Crackdown and Ice Dragon's Prisons first, attempting to save the Solemn Strike for my turn, because then on my turn I can go ahead and start doing Cyber Dragon things, and if they hand trap you, you can use the Solemn Strike to protect your hand actually, and obviously if you need to use it, you can still use it. And I mean, yeah, what if they open Harpy's Feather Duster? That's the downside to playing back row, you know. What if they open Dark Ruler or Nibiru against your combo? So, you know, we can say that about just about everything. But guys, thank you for watching. We'll have a lot more replays coming your way as we continue to climb the ladder. That is Dueling Book, using Pure, using Dragoon with Dupe, using the Trap build, like using a bunch of different builds. So getting some good testing in. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, take care.